Hello, everyone. I'd like to bring to order the Cuyahoga County Human Resources Appointment and Equity Committee meeting Tuesday, July 12th. Please call the roll.
As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county YouTube page. Calling the roll, Ms. Baker,
Here.
Mr. Gallagher, Mr. Miller,
Here.
Mr. Sweeney,
Present.
Ms. Conwell. Ms. Conwell's absent at the moment. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Are there any public comments?
No one has signed in for public comment.
All right, if you've had a chance, may we have approval of the minutes from the June 28th meeting?
So moved.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Matters referred to committee. We are going to hear from Dr. Marquise Brown. He is by Zoom. Janae Holly, if you would give us an overview.
Madam Chair, would you like me to read it into the record?
Yes, I'm sorry, go right ahead.
Resolution 2022-0212, confirming the county executive's appointment of Marquise Brown to serve on the City of Cleveland, Cuyahoga County Workforce Development Board for the term July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2025.
Thank you for that. And then Janae?
Good morning, Madam Chair. On behalf of the County Executive, we are here to appoint Marquise Brown to a 3-year term with the Cleveland-Cuyahoga County Workforce Development Board. He will be replacing Harriet Applegate, and the term will be from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2025. And I believe Ida Ford may be on the Zoom as well to provide any support if you have any questions in regards to this appointment or this board.
Thank you.
And we
very
are
much.
asking for second reading suspension.
All right, good to know. Is Dr. Brown on Zoom?
I am, and I am no doctor, but thank you for the elevation.
I thought that's what I read. I'm sorry.
No problem.
It is good to have you with us this morning, and give us a little background then of yourself.
Sure. Well, good morning, Chairman Baker and all the other council members who are present. I want to thank you for the opportunity to address you today virtually, since I am at a conference today at work. As I told the executive Budish, when we discussed this appointment, I will be honored if confirmed to serve on the Workforce Development Board to vigorously advocate for resources to assist Cuyahoga County residents in moving towards financial independence through training and employment opportunities. I believe my background as regional director for AFSCME, Ohio Council Aid, where I serve as a chief negotiator for a union representing the largest public sector union, representing over 6,000 workers. In my work in HR and labor relations and in management, make me uniquely qualified to serve in this role. I've negotiated wages for thousands of employees, benefits and other terms and conditions of employment. I've helped recruit employees to build diverse workforces and teams. I've created onboarding programs and designed trainings for employees. I've also collaborated with employees to find innovative solutions to increase the longevity and tenure of employees and to ensure employer was an employment of choice. To my surprise, when making that culture shift, employees usually were not simply seeking increases in compensation. As we are seeing the continuing impacts of COVID-19 on the labor market, I'm currently working with employers to create training and pipeline programs. We've been opening collective bargaining agreements mid-year to renegotiate wages, to make sure that we can retract and retain staff to keep up with the labor market trends, as well as we've seen across the country, but even here in Cuyahoga County and other public sector employees, we cannot compete always with the private sector, but we can have found creative ways to make sure that we can recruit, train, and retain employees. And we want to make sure that we do that, we make sure that's not done in a very fragmented fashion. I believe that we have an opportunity with the millions of dollars that the county has already invested in workforce training, as well as the ARPA dollars to truly make life-changing impacts on assisting Cuyahoga County residents to be financially independent. After Mayor Bibb was elected, I was asked to serve on his transition team for HR and talent. when we were reviewing his policies and procedures and was drafting recommendations for him and his team, I helped lead the effort in organizing a town hall info session with city workers to get their feedback. And the number one barrier they cited in accomplishing their job was the lack of training opportunities. During the many sessions that we had, we were able to engage with members of the Workforce Development Board. And we were informed that former Mayor Jackson had allowed the CEO position of the board to sit vacant for years. I was quite surprised by this, especially in the greater Cleveland area where these opportunities are not only needed, but they are welcome. I was very excited when I heard Mayor Bibb's appointment of Michelle Rose as a new CEO to lead the workforce effort in Cuyahoga County. Because of these reasons, I respectfully ask for your support for my nomination and to confirm me to this vacancy on the Workforce Development Board. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have, but I'm ready to get to work and to make sure that we can bring opportunities to Cuyahoga County and make sure we can get folks gainfully employed and trained and making sure they are more financially independent.
Great, wonderful. That has quite a background that you have given us, and good to have you here today. Do we have questions for Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Go right ahead, Councilman Miller.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And to Mr. Brown, I appreciate your stepping up to serve in this very important capacity. And my question is, given the current strength of the labor market and the comments you made about training and financial independence, do you feel that moving people to living wage employment right now is even more important than helping people who are unemployed gain entry-level employment?
I believe it's more important. Was that your question?
Yes, my question is whether you believe that moving people to living wage employment would be more important or would be your highest priority on workforce development.
It would absolutely be a very high priority. I mean, a living wage is something that we must strive for to make sure that we can have folks have one job. You know, we want to make sure that as we are training folks and getting them to the workforce, you know, it doesn't help them if they have to have 1, 2, or 3 jobs in order for them to be self-sufficient. If our goal is to get them trained and into the workforce and making sure they're financially independent, having them with 3 or 4 jobs is not going to do so. So yes, making sure it's a living wage and making sure that they are able to be financially independent, I think will be what will be my goal and what I will want to bring to the table to be a member of this board.
And my second question is, where do you believe that racial and gender inequities remain in the workplace environment in Cuyahoga County, and how can they most effectively be addressed?
Well, I believe it needs to be at the forefront. You know, that's something that why I got involved in the labor movement is something that regardless of your race, your sex, when you have the same qualifications, you get paid for the exact same work. It's something that I've taken pride in. When I was a leader of an organization, when I came into the workplace, I saw that the women were making less than what the men were, even when they had higher credentials. And so what I did was an audit of every single employee. And when I saw that the women were making less than their male counterparts, I immediately increased all of their pay. So I believe it's something that we need to make sure that when people are doing, especially the exact same work, they need to be making sure they're being paid for it. I believe in equity. I believe in making sure that if we are truly trying to bring in racial and economic justice, that we need to make sure that not only that we talk the talk, that we walk the walk. And I believe that all encompasses what we have to do when we are looking for a workforce and making sure it's diverse. I believe that is the mission of the county executive. I think that is the mission of the county council, as well as Mayor Bibb in this joint appointment.
And final question, in terms of equity, at this point, are you more concerned about inequity in hiring and promotion decisions, or are you more concerned about pay inequities?
For me, it's not an either or. When I look at inequities, I look at it across the board. And again, that's why I said I think I have a unique perspective being part of a labor union. I look at how do we address inequities across the board, and I try to figure out how do we multi-pronged attack those things. I believe in some way that you can always chew bubble gum and walk at the same time. So if there are inequities out there, we need to look at how do we address all of them and making sure that we can do so. I think that with this workforce development team, we have a large team, we have the resources, and we need to make sure that we address all of those challenges out there and not stop until we make sure the job gets done.
So thank you for your responses. I appreciate your stepping forward and support your nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Miller. Yes, Councilman Sweeney?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Are you really gone, or you just didn't want to come in and deal with me? Hi, Marquez.
I can take off the floor, but I am in Philadelphia at a convention.
I just wanted to mess with you for a second. I've known Marquise for a long time. Did you make those prepared statements yourself? They were, I mean.
I did.
Just watching your growth is just incredible. Is too strong, but it's very close. And how serious you take your job and how much you care about the specific field you're in. I think it's a perfect match for it. And in your progression in your professional career, it's a perfect spot. And we can't thank you enough for stepping up. And with you being drawn in and being recognized for your talents through the chair, the time commitment for this and your other responsibilities, you're going to be able to manage the responsibilities and focus that is necessary for this position?
Absolutely. And before I was even asked to serve, I went to the state president of AFSCME and asked them for support for this. And he told me he absolutely will support and will make sure that there will be no hurdles with me for serving in this time commitment.
Yeah, and it's the time commitment. And when somebody's good at something, everybody wants you to do it. So that's what I say. Congratulations, you have my full support. And if you need some hair dye for your beard, I can advise. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Okay, only from Councilman Sweeney. Thank you, Councilman. Very insightful. Thank you. All right. Well, Mr. Brown, just a couple quick questions. The type of industries that County Council and the executive have agreed upon that we are trying to move those that are wanting of workforce training is the manufacturing industry, the healthcare industry, and even the hospitality industry. How do you feel about that? And are those the type of jobs that you would like to see those looking to improve their skills enter into?
Absolutely. And so I have some experience working with all those industries. With the hospitality and, with the hospital industry, I represent 2,000 workers at Metro Health Hospital, and we are constantly talking about how to build pipeline programs. We see the shortage of staff there, and we are always trying to figure out innovative ways. We are seeing that there is now the amount of employees that we need to build for that pipeline. So we're trying to get creative with that. But manufacturing, I've been part of many initiatives with the Fund for Our Economic Future, working with Magnet working with other initiatives of how do we really, seek out of high school students, bringing in young talent and making sure we're staying in Northeast Ohio. And for the hospitality field, absolutely, it was my first job when I was in high school. It helped me pay through my way throughout college. And so I strongly support the hospitality industry. And I make sure that even here, no matter where I go, that I tip employees. I think whenever time that a service is done for you, you make sure that you tip those employees. I think that a lot of times individuals try to look down upon employees, but there is no work that should be looked down upon. So I think that is something that we need to make sure that we do to strengthen these employees and making sure that we give them the opportunities to grow and to be successful.
Thank you. That's really a great answer. Another initiative that we also have put some funding behind is, and has been a long-term program, but struggling, is the incumbent training, is getting employers who already have employees to encourage them to take advantage of the incumbent training program. Also, we have recently invested in school awareness, trying to get businesses to come into the schools and talk about their businesses and encourage those that don't even think about being perhaps owning their own business or working in the trades or even becoming a CPA or any kind of those type of levels of awareness. First of all, the incumbent training, how will you improve that? We are struggling. And also the mentoring or in-school training of raising the awareness of those high schoolers that may be considering or not even thinking about perhaps what they would like to do when they graduate.
Yeah, I mean, so I have not given a lot of thought to that, but I have served as a mentor myself, working with Cleveland Public Schools, working with junior achievement, and also in my fraternity as well, working with young college students and hoping to provide a pathway for those individual students. So while I do not have specific goals there, I would love to see what the board has done, take an assessment of that to see what I've done in other sectors of my life, and see what can we do to enhance that. I don't know what has been already achieved or what has been accomplished, but I would take a look at that and see what can we do to augment that to make it better. One thing that I did when I was applying for a job several years ago, I was looking at how to improve a pipeline program of how to increase African-American male teachers in the school system and working with a school system of how to help recruit students at the 3rd, 5th grade and junior high level to want to go into that profession. I've done a lot of research working with a lot of different organizations and to present some well thought out programs. And again, while that was only a presentation, and while I did not get that position several years ago, I know they used that plan to be successful. So I would use that same way of doing research, working with other workforce development boards, seeing what they've done to help bring that to the table. Good.
It's good to know that you'll have that opportunity, and it sounds like your background will really be an asset to those initiatives. So is there any other questions? Hearing none, I will make a motion to move this item to the full body of the council for second reading under suspension of the rules. May I have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing no nays. Congratulations, Mr. Brown, and thank you very much for your willingness to serve on the Workforce Development Board.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
All right. Take care. All right. Clerk, if you can please read the next matter. Dr. Charles Modlin.
Resolution 2022-0210, confirming the county executive's appointment of Dr. Charles Modlin to serve on the Cuyahoga County Citizens Advisory Council on Equity for an unexpired term ending July 14, 2024.
Thank you. Janae Holly, would you please give us a background?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. The Cuyahoga County Citizens Advisory Council on Equity was established to oversee and report on equity efforts undertaken by the county and in the delivery of county services, as well as the collection of relevant data and the issuance of an annual equity report. Pursuant to Ordinance Number 2019-0002, on behalf of the county executive, I submit the following nomination, Dr. Charles Modlin, to fill an unexpired term ending July 14, 2024, and he will be replacing Cordell Stokes, and we are requesting second reading suspension.
Thank you. And Dr. Modlin, I see you're here. Please come forward. Thank you for coming. Give us a little background of yourself.
Thank you. So can everybody hear me?
Yes.
I always say it's easier to do surgery than to recall this equipment. Thank you, Madam Chair and Council, for allowing me to be present. I was actually honored to have been nominated by County Executive Armin Budish to serve on the Cuyahoga County Citizens Advisory Council on Equity. So I'm a kidney transplant surgeon. I'm a urologist. I spent the last 28 years of my career at Cleveland Clinic. And as of last September, I migrated over to the Metro Health system, where I am the first ever medical director of the Office of Equity, Inclusion, and Diversity. I'm also still a practicing urologist. Over the course of my career, I've innovated a number of health equity initiatives, initially at Cleveland Clinic and now at Metro Health. After I finished my kidney transplant fellowship training at Cleveland Clinic, I was able to step back and take a broader view of the medical landscape, and that's when I really became aware of this healthcare disparity crisis that exists in America. And I looked around Cleveland Clinic at the time, and I saw that there wasn't any structured programming to address a lot of these health inequities. And so I went to the former chief of staff at the time, and we met with former Congressman Louis Stokes and some other people, and we came together to decide that we at Cleveland Clinic could actually play a major role in terms of addressing this healthcare disparity situation. And back in 2003, I was the impetus in terms of establishing a program, a well-known program called the Minority Men's Health Fair, which is a program open to everybody, but we specifically were reaching out to men of color because men of color represent the group most susceptible to developing healthcare disparities, higher rates of diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, kidney disease, a number of cancers. As a urologist, one of the disease states that I diagnose and treat is prostate cancer, which afflicts twice as many black men as their majority counterparts. And overall, you look at the contributing healthcare disparities and the outcomes. Black men develop and die from these health disparities more frequently, resulting in about a 4 to 6 year shorter life expectancy in black men than their Caucasian American counterparts. So the Minority Men's Health Fair, it grew over a number of years to where over 18 years doing the health fair, we served about 30,000 predominantly African American men. Others, women, also attended the event. This past April the 28th, I started the Minority Men's Health Fair at Metro Health, which was a huge success. We had over 1,000 men attend this event. We diagnosed many cases of prostate cancer and other serious medical conditions that the men were not aware that they had. County Executive Budish has been aware of the work I've been doing for quite some time. I've had several interactions with him, and he thought I would be value added to serve on this Health Equity Committee with respect to my expertise in health disparities and health equity. At Metro Health, I'm also I play a role in my directorship of medical directorship of our Office of Equity, Inclusion, Diversity. I play a major role in terms of helping promote a more diverse professional staff. That includes physicians and advanced practice providers and others. Over the course of my career also, I've dedicated myself to mentoring younger individuals to try to encourage them especially to go into the healthcare professions. Actually, I recently published a book which is dedicated on success tips and navigation. And again, my My talents, my expertise have also been recognized by 2 Ohio governors. I was actually appointed to the Ohio Commission on Minority Health. I served on that commission for 12 years, originally by Governor Strickland and Governor Kasich. More recently, I was appointed by Governor Mike DeWine to serve on his minority COVID-19 strike force. I chaired actually the subcommittee for that strike force, the Education and Community Outreach subcommittee. So I think I would be value added, to serve on this Citizens Advisory Council on Equity, specifically with my expertise on, health inequities. I'm well known in the community. I've dedicated myself to educating the community about health inequities. But more so, I've innovated a number of clinical programs to facilitate access into the healthcare system, both at Cleveland Clinic and also at the Metro Health Medical Center. So again, it's a great honor for me to be standing before you today to be considered to be appointed to this committee. And that was just a brief statement. I could go on, but I just wanted to be here in person to express my interest, and I can take any questions that any of you may have of me.
Great, thank you, Dr.
Thanks.
Modlin. It's very, very impressive, and we're so thankful that you are willing to serve on this board. Do we have questions for Dr. Modlin? All right, Councilman Sweeney.
Excuse me, council member, your microphone.
Let me repeat myself. All I can say is, wow. I mean, the way you just talked and what you've done is inspiring, incredible, and I'm in awe. So
I consider it my responsibility to give back to the community.
and it's very evident, and the
Thank you.
results are just impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you. If I may ask,
Yes.
I know that you've been out there and you've been working and doing all the right things for those that are in need. Your 2003 Minority Men's Health Care, and I know that you have been progressing and moving forward on it and enhancing it. Are you satisfied with the results? Is there more that you would like to see, perhaps in funding or in support, to help you further that initiative?
Yeah, very much. I've been satisfied to a certain extent, but I'm actually greedy. When we get 2,000 men showing up to the health fair, I want 10,000 men there, so I'm a little bit greedy. My senior VP at Metro, Alan Neville, reminded me that if we can actually help one man, then we've been successful. I think I would actually like to see more funding put forth to support a lot of our efforts in terms of promoting health equity for the region. And, there's some very disturbing data that actually came out of the Cuyahoga County Health Department that demonstrates how significant these health inequities are. If you're a citizen living in inner city, the Huff or Fairfax area, your life expectancy can be on order of 21 to 28 years shorter than if you live 5 miles away. For instance, in Shaker Heights, Pepper Pike, so there's a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of raising awareness, funding, a lot of these initiatives and strategies that we've implemented. But by and large, I'm pleased with the progress that we have so far. But I mean, the work there's much more work that needs to be done.
All right, that's good to hear. So the answer, we would want to if more funding was provided, just raising the awareness of what you're already doing.
Yes,
Sounds
ma'am.
like, yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. With your impressive resume, do you have the time to commit to this group? Do you see yourself being able to put this forward with all that you've got on your plate?
Absolutely. I think this is just, an extension in terms of what I'm already doing. I think, having an opportunity to serve in this capacity actually validates, the work I'm doing and actually raises more awareness. And it actually facilitates what I'm trying to do collectively. And again, nothing I've done has been in a silo or individually. I've always had, individuals that stepped up to volunteer for our health fairs. And I'm always very thankful for people, who have actually helped us, achieve what we've already been able to achieve. But yeah, absolutely, I would be able to commit time, the necessary time, to serve on this committee, and I would do it, and be honored to do so.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The old saying, if you want something done, ask a busy person, because they know how to get it done, and they will find a way. Any other questions? No, we're very impressed with your background. This is going for second reading suspension, so may I have a motion to move this item to full body of the council for second reading under suspension of the rules?
I so move.
Thank you. All in, second, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hearing no nays, congratulations and thank you for your service.
Thanks for letting me be here today. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we have one final, if you would read what's on the agenda that's been referred to us.
Resolution 2022-0211, confirming the county's executive's reappointment of various individuals to serve on the Monument Commission of Cuyahoga County for the term September 1st, 2022 to August 31st, 2025.
Thank you. And Janae Holly, if you give us a little background.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. The Cuyahoga County Monument Commission was established to encourage and promote a diverse and representative cultural environment for and on behalf of the citizens of Cuyahoga County and visitors to this region through appropriate memorialization of significant persons, communities, and historic events. Pursuant to Chapter 206.10 of the Cuyahoga County Code, on behalf of the county executive, I submit the following nominations for reappointment to the Monument Commission: Patty Chobe, Patrick Hewitt, and Matt Reimer, each serving a 3-year term, September 1st, 2022 through August 31st, 2025.
Thank you.
And this can go full reading.
Full reading, thank you. I think because you're all in the same term and you're all serving on the same Monument Commission, you all three can come forward. Patty Chobe, if you would introduce yourself first and give us a little background.
Good morning, Chair and council people. I'm Patty Chobe, and I am a resident of the city of Cleveland and have been serving on the Monument Commission for the last few years. I originally was really excited to do it when County Executive Budish asked, because personally and professionally over the years we've done a ton of work, I've done a ton of work in the area of arts and culture, women and children's health, and education. And in our my professional work at Cobalt Group, we have advised many clients, public and private, on the use of public art, public-private partnerships around architectural edifices and things that are used to help celebrate cultural events and things happening in that client's spaces. And so the reason I asked the county executive to be reappointed was that the committee has done a great job of putting together a structure, an infrastructure, so that the county can address legitimate requests that are made of the county to either introduce the installation of new monuments, but also to clarify what the commission and what those monuments should be doing for the community, given the last several years of social and political unrest that we've had. It was, I think, perfect timing for the county executive and council to establish it. And we are at a point where we have an infrastructure for taking ideas and applications. We have an inventory underway with a sub-consultant to the commission, and potentially some ideas that will be forthcoming. So I want to continue to serve to see the work that we've laid as groundwork brought into action.
Great, thank you very much. Why don't we hold our questions and listen to all three? Patrick Hewitt, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Patrick Hewitt. In my day job, I work in this building. I am a planning manager for the Cuyahoga County Planning Commission in charge of strategy and development, working mostly on master plans, corridor studies, park plans, and zoning improvements for the communities of Cuyahoga County. As part of that work, we do quite a bit of conversing with communities about art, about placemaking, about parks, which really ties into the importance of monuments and appropriate representation for communities throughout Cuyahoga County, but also playing into this particular body. I've served on the Monument Commission with Patty since the inception, and have been selected by my peers as chair starting in January of this year. Just as some background for all of you, we have, to Patty's point, been making quite a few really important steps in the past 8 months or so. In December, we adopted bylaws. In January, held elections. In March, we adopted an updated application form and created a full process for selecting and reviewing applications and proposed monuments. We're currently partnering with the Department of Public Works, and Matt can speak more to this, to create an inventory and assessment so that we understand what monuments we have in their current state. And we do have a number of monuments that have already been brought to us for potential approval and review by our commission. Looking forward, we're very excited about the assessment being completed, but also looking forward to next steps, thinking about the representation of folks in those monuments, coming up with a plan for future monuments and where current monuments may make the most sense, and thinking about ongoing maintenance to make sure that the monuments that we have are taken care of. So I appreciate the renomination. Thank you, and happy to answer any questions at the end.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And of course, Matt Reimer, welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chair, committee members. Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works. So my position within the Monument Commission, I currently have served since 2021. Took over the unexpired term of Attilio Morales when he retired. So I serve as the Public Works representative that is in the bylaws of the Monument Commission. I'm uniquely positioned as the Facilities Design and Maintenance Administrator to lend support to the how-to of getting around to building a monument, to working around it, maintaining it, and caretaking for it. And that's the expertise that I lend, as Patrick mentioned, also lending our sub-consultant contracts to support the inventory and assessment of the existing monument inventory throughout county facilities. And a little bit about me, I'm a Strongsville resident, been with the county since 2016, and lots of experience working with monuments of a military installation nature, as well as working in and around national historic monuments and other aspects just in the construction world. So happy to answer any of your questions.
Yes, thank you, Matt. And we know you well, and we know you do good work, and you're an asset to this commission. Any questions?
I have some questions.
Councilman Miller?
Thank you, and I appreciate all of you being willing to continue to serve in this very important work. And my first question is at a very basic level as to whether the scope of the Monument Commission only includes those monuments that are owned and maintained by the government of Cuyahoga County, or does it include all monuments that exist within the county, whether or not we maintain them?
Sure, thank you. The scope of the commission is one thing that we spent a good amount of time undertaking in those first couple of years. And yes, we look specifically at monuments that are owned by Cuyahoga County or that are on Cuyahoga County land. So it is not every monument. Individual communities can have their own monuments. What we have been doing recently is having dialogue with some individual communities about monuments. For instance, with Cleveland, Cuyahoga County owns a number of monuments in the city of Cleveland. They have their own processes for review and approval. So we want to make sure that we're dialoguing and conversing, but our specific purview is on those that are owned or located on county property.
Okay. And my second question is whether there are any monuments within your scope for which there is discussion as to whether these monuments might no longer be appropriate due to changes in understanding of various historical issues, and do we have anything like that, or is that not, or do we not have any such in our scope?
So our first step, what Matt recently discussed, is this monument inventory and assessment. And that inventory will include some information related to who is being represented and some background about that person so that we can help to determine the question that you just raised. Are there monuments that may no longer be appropriate? One thing that we've talked about increasingly is making sure that as we're looking forward, that we are attracting new monuments to help ensure that our collection is representative of people of various nationalities, races, ethnicities over the course of the history of Cuyahoga County. Patty, if you'd like to add anything to that, I know that's something that you think about quite a bit.
Yeah, I would just like to say that one of the reasons, again, that I'd like to be reappointed is that the commission is looking forward to having that discussion, Councilman, particularly since we will have a full inventory, and we know that there have been other activities in Cuyahoga County where other public entities have looked at the names of different public buildings or structures. And so we have some general sense of what that process sort of looks like. And I don't think I'm going out on a limb here to say that if we go through that process and come to some conclusion that there might be some structures that have outlived their usefulness or their relevance or their appropriateness, that we will definitely immediately, come back to this body to let them know that.
So that leads to my third and final question, which is whether you have a specific process in place for coming to that decision to recommend that a particular monument is no longer appropriate.
That's a great question, because just at our last meeting, we talked about beginning to talk about what public engagement and public input would look like for any of the processes that we would lead. And Patrick and I were just talking about putting that on the agenda for our meeting in 2 weeks to really say what should public engagement consist of. And through our colleague, Joe Nani, who also sits on the commission, we can definitely we'll begin to have some conversations about that, but we'll be seeking other folks' input about what that community engagement and input should be. And one of the things that I mentioned to the group at our last meeting was it should happen very early. It should be very transparent and authentic. And so we'll be, looping back to people to get their input about what that might look like as well.
So I would just like to take a moment and share a little bit of my philosophy on this question, and it's that I definitely agree that our understanding of equity and our understanding of our history and some of the problematical aspects of our history is evolving, and that there are going to be monuments that are no longer appropriate, and that we have to consider that possibility. But there is also the aspect that the leaders of our country in earlier times were products of their own time and culture, and I think we have to consider that too, and it's a balancing act, and it's one that requires reasonable and broad discussion, and hopefully does not become a lightning rod for culture wars, but hopefully is something that people of a variety of backgrounds and viewpoints can discuss in a reasonable manner and make some good decisions. Thank you.
Yes, Councilman Sweeney.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Thank you for continuing here. And on Dale's last comment, I think that responsibility falls on you and the commission, which is heavy if it gets to that point. And Dale's comments and his philosophy is embraced by me, and it's something that you should be smiling about, not worrying about, because we know I know we are in good hands. Two questions is just more curiosity. What designates a monument? Does it have to be so tall? Does it have to have historic significance? Does it have to be brick or cement or something?
That is a fantastic question, and one that we struggled with mightily. There are specific items that are outlined in the enabling legislation that includes things as wide as work of art, I believe. What we worked with the Department of Law to determine, our example was artwork that is hung at the county. Would that be considered a monument? And we did not want it to be considered a monument. What the Department of Law helped us with was the word erected, so something that has to be permanently erected to honor a historic person, event. I think there's another one. So things like statues, sculptures, fountains that are erected and that are in commemoration of kind of a historic person or event is where our focus is. Importantly, that process and the application that we put together starts off with a letter of interest. If somebody wants to propose a monument, if they want to move a monument, repair a monument, our first determination is this a monument? And some of those questions that, or some of those descriptions that we just talked about are what we would use to determine whether or not something qualifies.
Thank you. Madam Chairwoman, since it's on county land and or county-owned, your leadership is giving us the guidance to make the decision. Is that how it's set up?
Yeah, so our determination will be whether or not it is a monument, and that is then whether or not Cuyahoga County would have to review and approve a proposal or review and approve something that is already on.
And through the chair, I think it's more than that in my eyes. It's not just a monument. Is it an appropriate monument?
Correct. And so the first step is it a monument? The next steps are, here are all the items that we need to determine whether or not it's appropriate to construct, whether or not there's funding to be able to maintain it, who's being represented, is it located in a safe space. A really great conversation we had the other day was a monument that was theoretically could be too close to a road, that could be hit by a car, right? So we had the expertise of people like the Department of Public Works, of Patty, to help us think about all of those aspects once we do determine that something's a monument.
And my last question, Madam Chair, if I could. When you get to a monument, you get there, you look at it, and you got that little couple of words. Or if you got the Peace Monument, I was waiting for my daughter one day. I walked all the way around, looked at all those names. And that's just a snapshot, though. So when you make your final approval, there's going to be some kind of marker with something on it. But there's a historic story behind it. And my immediate thought is part of the process, it would be wonderful to maximize our county archives for each and every county monument with the full story. And whatever your website listing, I'm micromanaging Marty here, but I'd love to read about some of them. I mean, Tony Brancatelli's cannon that ended up at City Hall was going to get thrown away, but he fought for it. It's right next to City Hall behind the free stamp, and I'm glad it made it there. But I know the story because Tony told it to me. I wouldn't have known it except it just says the Polish cannon. So is there a place for the story that is available when the monuments are identified, classified, and to be able to be fully understood by Cuyahoga County residents and everyone that has interest? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilman. One item that I'll add is that Dr. Judith Satina is, the county archivist, is on the Monument Commission as well.
Oh, perfect.
As a member, so that knowledge is there. Matt, do you want to talk about the inventory?
So we do hope to create that interpretation, the interpretive narrative as part of our inventory effort that we're going through right now. And that'll be probably an ongoing process with the commission as we get the facts and figures and photographic documentation during the inventory process. So we do hope to have that, and the commission does have county boards and commission website that does have all the information that Patrick has been referring to, the bylaws, and I'm sure that would be the place for to link those things back to the archives. And
Just to cause one more
Tell the
little
story.
one.
Good questions.
That's a lot of work. And you have a bunch of work to do in your private world and your public world. You need more staff to actually do the work. Because I know the archives are still talking about their budget. And this is a newer commission. And it's work that needs to be done more significantly up front to get it all up to speed, and then less as more monuments come by. So that's a short way of, or a long way of saying, figure out what you need to be able to do your job and don't be shy to ask for it, because this isn't the highest priority. No, it's a priority, but it's not the highest one they get in the focus on, but it's important. And I'd like to just to share that thought with you. And if you have it already in your discussion pods, that's fine. If not, just from one council person, let's get it up to speed and get it going, and don't be shy to ask. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Points.
Through the chair to the councilman's statement. So you're looking at only, I think, what, 40% or 25% rather of the actual commission right now that are, so it's not just the three of us.
I'm fully aware of that.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm just talking about manual labor
Yeah.
to go in, and you need some kind of staff.
Right.
To be able to create what you're talking about. And that's my comments were directed for that, because normally a commission is together to do something, and they do some work, but then they give the work to be able to get done, to get it completed as directed by the commission. So, thank you. Talking too much.
Chair, to the councilman, you know, one of the things that we are really excited about with the inventory is that it's going to be able to give us a condition analysis. And so we don't know how much investment will need to be made in the existing inventory, but given that there hasn't really been a maintenance plan for them, we anticipate there may be some simple buffing and shining, and for others, there might be, you know, significant infrastructure to bring the monument back to its original status. And to the councilman's point as well, you know, we've talked very specifically about how we document this process as potential monuments are being proposed, and, you know, everything from where we might store a wax model that gets done as a part of the actual production of a future monument to that history, so that we have a very specific narrative that we can share, and that our work can be used for generations. And to your point, Councilman, there are going to need to be resources that will have to be, you know, put towards this effort, so that all of the planning and strategizing is, you know, maintained for future generations.
Yeah, thank you. Those are both of you, very good questions. Yes, welcoming Councilwoman Conwell.
I'm just wondering if we could have a presentation here in your committee once they're up to speed, to kind of let us know where they are, what their plans are. It's been a while since I heard about the Monument Commission. I believe that was Ellen Connolly that started that. I don't know if she's still on the board or not.
No, she's not. We would be happy to come bring a presentation once the inventory and assessment is completed. We've got some maps and some really great images. And to the point, I think that will also be a time when we'll have a better understanding of the types of financial needs that we might look to in the future.
And I'd like to recognize Joe Nani, who you just mentioned, is also part of the commission. So if you'd like to come forward, Joe?
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Real quick, that was a great question that the commission has really done a great job on. The point of this analysis is to be able to justify coming forward during the budget process to show what the actual need is. And that's where I think a presentation would be good too. Thank you.
Good point. Any other questions? For a commission, you have gotten grilled pretty good here today, and we certainly do appreciate your work. You know, the only, as I would say, Councilman Miller raised the comment that the broad awareness of making sure that you encompass a variety of people when you start talking about input is important. I mean, it's many people are very passionate about different statues and what's there, what's not there, what they'd like changed. But to get a broad opinion from many different people and have a respectful dialogue is what I would hope you would try to accomplish. All right, hearing no other questions, I will make the motion to move this item to the full body of council for second reading. It does not need a suspension. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor to reappoint Patty Chobe, Patrick Hewitt, and Matt Reimer, please say aye.
Aye.
Hearing no nays, congratulations to all of you, and thank you for your continued work. All right, any miscellaneous business? Yes, Mr. Councilman Sweeney, what is your miscellaneous business?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I feel a bit cheated. Let me tell you why. Janae Holly, this is her last day. And I have, our last council committee meeting. And being cheated, I've had the privilege of being on council for about 18 months. And just recently, I've had the privilege of interacting with her a little bit more. And I just find her extraordinarily talented, and wherever she's going in the future is very lucky. And the short time that I've had the privilege, it's a benefit for me, and I'm a better person for it. So I thought I'd share that during miscellaneous. I hope it's appropriate. And whoever succeeds you in that job, I think there's high, I don't want to say big shoes to fill, but there's going to be high expectations to me, and I have no idea who that might be.
Thank you, and
very
thank you for
much.
bringing that to our attention. Councilman
Madam
Miller?
Chair, I would also like to thank you, Janae, for all your hard work and dedicated service and leadership, and wish you the very best of success. And I think the regional collaboration office is going to kind of have to be reorganized, and there's big vacancies to fill. So I wish the administration lots of success in doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, and I didn't realize this was your last day, and I certainly appreciate the work that we've had a very short time together working on this committee, but you've done excellent work, and I wish you the best in your future.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to say it has definitely been an honor working with each of you. I'm sure our paths will cross in the near future as I continue on my journey in being an agent of social change. Thank you.
All right, any other miscellaneous business? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you.